Well, okay. Greetings, salutations. Welcome everyone to the RPG Cave. I am your host for tonight, Garret Bland, and Ryan's not here. No. He decided to take a break. He decided to go off in a lost odyssey of Assassin's Creed. He went off trying to find meaning in life. I think that's another thing he was trying to do. But yeah, he is taking a break for the month. And you know what? I decided to just, kind of just take over for a little bit, do a little side quest, as we say. So, yeah. So this week on the RPG Cave, actually, I've been playing a game, a true side quest. Thank you, Seth. I've been I've been playing a game and I'm done with it. It was actually a pretty short game called the Atelier Marie Remake, The Alchemist of Salburg. So I'll be discussing it. You guys send in your questions. Thank you so much for your Atelier focus slash non RPG or no RPG focused questions. Thank you so much. But first, before we get into that, let's clear the dungeon, as Ryan would always say. So this is, if you like what we do, support the show. There's a number of ways to support Carpool Gaming. You can subscribe to us on your podcast feed of choice. You got, man, there's so many. There's like Apple and Spotify and Google. Those are like the main ones. Actually, you used to do Pocket Cast on my Android. Now I'm to Google Podcasts now, and that's actually pretty good. And I just stayed there because Pocket Cast now does this whole buy-in subscription thing. I don't really care for. So scratch that. We are doing just Google Podcasts there. So you can support us there. You can support us, any other podcast services. So join up. You can subscribe to the YouTube, and I'm sure you're watching it live right now. Click the button, subscribe down below, so you can keep up to date with all the other shows. You can also get early access to this show and many other shows and exclusive content, including the Pants Patreon podcast. I know Ryan just did his last week. I'm sure he did great. I'm sure he did fantastic. And then you can support us at patreon.com/carpool gaming. We also have a website, carpoolgaming.com. Check it out. I think I've checked it out a couple times. It's great. They did a very good job. The rest of the Carpool Gaming staff over there. And then Ryan's on break. So this is what's happening with the show. We're taking over. We're breaking this apart. He's actually is very supportive of me throughout this Atelier kind of obsession going on right now. And I support him with his shenanigans too, with Final Fantasy 14. What's that? And Magic the Gathering and all that sorts of stuff. So I'm glad he's supporting me with my Atelier obsession too. So let's just, let's get into it. So, before going through the game and going through just the basics of it, I want to show off a story that I think is very pertinent to the RPG audience, the role-playing game audience. So this little story came out from Bloomberg, and there's been a series of tweets, and of course the gaming outlets kind of dropped this as well this past 2 days. Square Enix had a financial call with one of the end of their quarter business calls, and it was, I wouldn't say it's shocking, but it's kind of not good news. Square Enix stock price drops 12.6% by the closing of business on Monday, as of recording today, including Final Fantasy 16 sales falling short, falling short as in their expectation of sales. Like, it's okay, it's fine, all right. I don't know, it's all based off of expectations and sales over here. They really blame it on the small PS5 install base, which Come on now. So they announced they sold Final Fantasy 16. They were kind of pretty celebratory with their units, like, oh, 3 million units. And I think that's actually pretty good. If run up the numbers, the attachment rate of Final Fantasy 16 to the PS5 install base is about 8%. And that's not bad for a third party game. That's pretty good. You use a lot of people say that's a success. They did not. So I don't know who's to blame for this. It's just like Square Enix, like, hey, it's fallen expectations. We expected 20% attachment rate. And I'm like, really, guys? Like, it's kind of weird. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. They're now focusing more on large scale games. Expect Square Enix to fall off on these medium scale. I When they say this, I think it's more like, man, what's the Valkyria Chronicle? Not Chronicles, Valkyria Elysium, Star Ocean, maybe. That's still a long-term game. And then like stuff like, man, that harvesting game that came out last year. What was that? I even forgot its name. But you guys know what I'm talking about. There's so many Square Enix mini mid-size games that they're probably gonna drop. And so I think they're gonna focus. I think their main pillars will be Team Asano, which they developed Octopath Traveler. Those classical turn-based games. I'm sure they're gonna just bring more of those classic turn-based games, including Triangle Strategy. Um, and then you also got, of course, Final Fantasy, the mainline series. You got Dragon Quest, the mainline series. You got Final Fantasy 14 in the live service game, keeping going. But I would expect a live service game to pop up, maybe like more than one. And I really think they just want a live service game to stick. And they should really look at, what are they called? The Chinese game developer MiHoYo verse or whatever. The people who made Honkai Star Rail and the other game that I'm forgetting right now, they did a really good job of what you can do as an action or turn-based RPG with live service elements. So hopefully they'll make a good live service game to keep them afloat, because it just shows that they need a large scale game. But at the same time, man, like, that sunk cost hard. Genshin Impact. Thank you, Drellesh, for the shout out there. Yes, Genshin Impact. And so yeah, it was an interesting news to pop up. It's always disappointing to see Square Enix. Every time I see them, they always say they fall short of their expectations. And you just got to imagine, like, what is your expectations then, guys? Like, it's a little bit out of there. So hopefully they'll just get back on the road there. They're a well-oiled machine. They just got to figure out their expectations with these sales, man. It's just not good. So I wanted to shout that out. And of course, Ryan, being the nerd that he is. Hi, Ryan. Hope you're doing good. He actually shared me some cool news with Magic the Gathering. They're doing a lot of collaboration going on, including Final Fantasy, which is great for the Japanese nerds and the Western nerds to like merge together and unite as one, as the Nerdum Kingdom over there. But they're also collaborating with Fallout, which is, come on, guys, that's excellent. They got me. They got me in. They got me reeled in. I'll see when the Fallout cards come out. I am intrigued with Magic the Gathering. It is a card game. I like card games. I like card game based video games, if that makes sense. Video games with some card based mechanics and stuff. So, really cool to see how that pans out. Okay, guys, enough chitter chatter. I've been going on. Actually, how long have I been going on now? I've been recording for 10 minutes. I can't believe I've been just talking to you guys about these stories, which is great. But let's get into the main topic. Read from the sacred texts of this side quest, and we'll go through this game here. So yes, I played Atelier Marie Remake, the Alchemist of Salburg. And it was provided, a code provided from Koei Tecmo, our friends at Koei Tecmo. So thank you very much. I played it on PC. And so I actually mainly played it. Hold on, let me see if I can grab it over here. Oh my gosh, there we go. On my Steam Deck right here. So, yeah, I played it mostly on there, which is great. I don't even know where to put this thing. Hold on. I have a dock over here. Just need to put it over there. All right, cool. Yeah, I mainly played it on my Steam Deck. Probably like 99% of it, and the rest of it on my laptop. And just to let you know, this game, you don't need a fancy computer. I think this thing can run on like a 800, 900 GPU series. Like no, like you may not need a GPU for this game. It doesn't take much. So that's good. In Steam Deck, it runs really, really well. But it's also on PS4, PS5, on Switch, and so PC was via Steam. It released on July 13th, 2023, and I can imagine the Switch one is actually probably plays pretty well too. The other Atelier games, the Atelier Rises series, plays pretty well on Switch as well. So, and this one's even like way less, demanding of an Atelier game. So, I have no doubt Switch can run this quite well. There's two editions to this game. Um, there's a standard edition that's $50 US, 50, and then there's a digital deluxe version for 70 USD or your local equivalent. The digital deluxe edition will give you extra things, including extra background music, a new costume set. But I think the most important thing is that this version gives you a port of the original Atelier Marie, which I forgot what came out on, but the original game is also on there in the $70 digital version. I didn't play too much of that one. It's actually pretty rough I played like maybe the first 30 minutes of that game. But it's really neat to go flip back and forth. But so if you want just the original game, 50 USD. Before I get into everything else, I want to bring in Sean Capri over to the cave. Welcome, Sean. Welcome on in. First time, long time. Quick question for the show: what the hell is an atelier or atelier? Well, Sean, I am no Ryan Turford. I am no Wikipedia of the game histories, but I definitely know how to look up things on the Googles into the Wikipedias. So, Sean, I got you covered. An atelier, which I think French, it's atelier or something like that. I don't know how they pronounce it. Is a private workshop or studio of a professional artist in the fine or decorative arts or an architect, where a principal master and a number of assistants, students, and apprentices can work together producing fine art or visual art released under the master's name or supervision. There you go. It is a workshop, art craft. So there you go. It is crafting like you cannot believe anything else. Atelier is in this game is all about potion making and craft making and stuff like that. For me, I played through one playthrough, and there's actually some replayability of this game. There's probably maybe 2 or 3 times before you get the full like experience. It took about 12 hours, and I imagine the second or third playthrough will take a third or half the time. So I wouldn't imagine you taking more than 20 hours to like really get everything out of this game. It's a pretty short game. Um, but yeah, so let me just go through a bit what this game does. And again, I haven't played too much of the original game, so I'm coming off this like a clean slate. So just bear with me as I like kind of just go through each of the certain facets of this game. Excuse me. So structure of the game. In the beginning, it's pretty funny. You're this person named Mary, who was a student of like, a school or university or whatever at Salburg, and you suck. You're just the bottom of the barrel. You're the last student out of your whatever classes or whatever, and they're about to flunk you. All the university professors like, dang, Murray, you really suck. Okay, to give you a special assignment that's going to take you 5 years, you have to craft a high level item. It's like, great. Okay. You get your own place in this village next to the university, and then you play the game. You basically work your way up and try to impress your teachers. I find it hilarious. So it's going to take you 5 years in order to pass the university. There are a few things I want to go over. So here's kind of the main categories of the game. There's, of course, crafting. Lots of different crafting going on throughout these 5 years. There's exploring. You go and explore different kind of mini areas, like around a mini map or whatever. There are companions that you take along with you to these exploration areas. The quests in this game is kind of your driving force. You kind of want to just go through and like check off all the things. You want to craft a certain item, you want to collect a certain material from an area. The quests are going to drive you there. And then the last thing I want to say is the schedule. And the schedule is the most important part because actually scheduling is the biggest part of this game. I want to bring in Kevin Ainsworth, aka the Muffin Mon. He says, "My brother loves the Atelier games. Great, we're among friends here. How does the remake compare to the Ryza games? Does the time limit make the experience worse?" So this is a much dumber down version of the Atelier games. This is just the remake of the original game. So everything's pretty surface level. You're not gonna try to make shapes of different things to make a one of a kind item. You basically have like a recipe like Minecraft's like, okay, this item takes this two material there, one material there, you're gonna make it. And that's pretty much it. So and the combat's very easy too. It's just kind of you're just kind of going through the game. His second question is very important though. Does the time limit make the experience worse? Okay, so there is a time limit to this game. I told you 5 years. 5 years. And throughout these 5 years, you're gonna have to build yourself up in like exploring, crafting, and that takes time. And you have to be very careful when you take on a quest. Do you have enough material in order to craft a certain item in a certain amount of time? So there's some kind of, I would say, stress. It definitely gives you time to, or you have to think about it. Like, do you really want to accept this quest before you go through it? Or is it sometimes, actually probably half the time, it's like, I really can't do this quest, so you should not accept it. There's that kind of situation. So the time limit actually, I wouldn't say it makes it worse. It actually makes it spices up the whole thing just because everything else is so surface level. It's like the crafting is like not that hard at all. Exploring in the combat's just turn based, and you really can just make it all auto because you can like just do magic and attack and so on and so forth. So yeah, and time is a huge factor in this game, but luckily it's pretty short. And actually, so the timing of it helped me a bit, but the pacing was still all over the place. In the beginning of the game, I felt like I was struggling. I did not have enough money. I did not have enough items. I didn't have the companions necessary. When you go throughout this game, it's a day by day cycle, and you go around the village to hire some companions, and you have a limit of 2 other companions with you, but you have to make sure you have enough money in order to hire them to explore. So there's that certain pitfall. You have to make sure you have enough money at all times to hire your companions. And then kind of the workflow is you hire your companions, you craft whatever you need to craft, you go over to the tavern to accept quests. And when you accept quests, then you're ready to go out and adventure different areas. And there's like, I don't know, 9 different areas, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but there's areas that, has a certain level requirement. They have a different, suite of materials you have to collect over there. So you kind of just make your way over like a board game. You like make your way over from your town to the area with your companions, and then you just kind of go through an exploration grab. Just like, okay, just get all the items that you can in your basket, go through the combats a little bit. There are some bosses that you have to face and attack, of course. And but then once you have enough materials, make sure you just go back to the village because you are on a schedule. You are on like a quest, maybe due in like 30 days. And you got to make sure you have enough time to grab your companions, go off to a certain area to collect a certain item or whatever, go back to your atelier and make sure you have enough time to make it. Even crafting a certain item has a time requirement, and you have to understand that. So beginning of the game, it was pretty. I was struggling like a little bit here, but I would say 30% into the game, I was like, this is easy. This is just me just chugging along, going through the game. I never felt like I was struggling at all. But there is a lot of times where you can miss a lot of events. And so, you go through 5 years, you actually go through seasons too. um you go through spring, winter, fall, and summer, and then each of those different seasons can bring it doesn't bring that much too much complexity to it. I think it's just some areas become barren and maybe some areas change, but I did not notice it too much. um and then yeah, that's pretty much it. You're going through these different seasons, and then there's events like the king's birthday, or like there's a sale going on at the market. um yeah, there's all these sorts of things that I probably didn't catch the first time around. Actually, I do have sort of like, well, I probably won't show it, but basically like the end of my first playthrough, I had 50% of the events explored. So I definitely missed a good chunk of other events throughout my playthrough. And even nearing to the end, um, I I think I caught and triggered an event that I probably could have triggered like probably the second year or the third year of this game. I just didn't know. And there's a lot of things you can miss. So if you are wanting to go through this game, like I want to 100% it through a run, make sure you look up a guide because you're definitely not gonna find it on your own. It's not that it doesn't hand you all these events all at once. But yeah, that's pretty much it there. Kind of the extra cool things in this game. Let's go with the companions. There's multiple companions. I forgot the number. It's like maybe 6 or 7. And by the time I hit halfway through the game, there were 2 companions that I really enjoyed. It was one of them was a knight, like an old guard knight dude, and then the other one was a bandit who's you actually face him, but later on becomes your friend, which is great. It's awesome, and then you basically become overpowered with those two companions. I beat the strongest boss in the game pretty easily. And then there's also like one area in the game where it's like kind of like a like battle based level thing where you go through level 1, level 2, so on and so forth. And I also beat that with those 2 companions. And so when you are interacting with your companions more, you'll gain friendship, and that friendship can trigger events too. More dialogue options, and figure out their backstory. The bandit one was kind of neat, and also the old guard. I also had a friend. I think she's the first friend that you meet in the game. Um, and you figure out that you need to like craft some high level items for her at the end of the game. And it reveals a big story arc there. But yeah, that's pretty much it with companions and events. um Man, I think, yeah, other than that, guys, it's a good game. Now, 50 USD. I'm gonna be honest here, guys. 50 USD is, I think it's a little too, I think it's on the higher end for me. Like, I probably, this game feels like a 20 to 30 USD game. And that's just my personal opinion. There's just not enough depth within the first game to really warrant uh this price. But again, that's just me. I still had fun with this game. It it wasn't like a really bad game I didn't enjoy. There was just maybe some pacing issues. I do love the crafting in this game. It's pretty simple. Um, and then going throughout each year, it's just pretty fun to figure out all the different crafting recipes and so on. There was there was one tab in the crafting I had no idea how to unlock. So there's one thing. I would probably have to look it up. It's like a little heart icon, like all the way to the right. I couldn't figure out. And then also there's this thing called the Hall of Memories. Um, you can decorate stuff in there. I pressed every button on my Steam Deck, um, and it's just I don't know what to do. Like, you can't. I tried to decorate this thing, I couldn't. So I probably have to look up a guide to figure that one. I'm not even really into the game because of the decorating part anyway. So I just didn't really care about that. Um, but yeah, that's this game. It's pretty good for what it is. I enjoyed my time with it. 12 hours. I feel like it was pretty good. Um, I am probably not gonna replay it, at least for a little bit. Maybe it's a good, I would say, podcast game or show game where you watch a show, listen to a podcast. You can play this game pretty easily because it's just a checklist, and I love crafting checklists. That's just like my jam, and so I just like kind of just crank it through as I just do other things, which is great. It doesn't require that much attention to get through this game. Also, I forgot to mention this game. It's all chibi, and that's the best part. It's all super adorable little chibi characters. They're not. Um, yeah. Well, what else can you say? It's very different than what you see in the other Atelier games. Again, I think they did a pretty good job of adding in all the cool modern mechanics into this first game. Because I did play, as I said, I played the Atelier Marie Plus a little bit, the original game. There was no combat really. It was just like pressing a button if you want to attack or not. Exploration was rough. There wasn't like a real time character focus, like turning or movement or whatever. But it has the same characters, which is great. It's on a schedule. So I'm glad they kind of fused in this remake the modern mechanics with what was in the game. So that's great. And then Drellesh, that's a good question. Drellesh asks in the chat. Let's see if I can pull it up here on this melon stuff. There we go. Is this a good gateway into the Atelier series? Um, it could be. Now, I wouldn't say play this game and I think you know the idea of what an Atelier game is from this, but I wouldn't say this is the this is the bread and butter. This is like the cream of the crop. I would still recommend other Atelier games. And Drellesh, let me actually get to your question for the show because you have many questions and I really like it. So he asks, I have never played an Atelier game, though seen lots of advertising for it. Yes, there's lots of sales with these games. Too many Atelier games, but yeah. I guess that I always consider it a game where you need to craft and make potions all day. Well, not necessarily just potions. Actually, in Atelier Ryza, like the latest one, you make weapons, you make key items, you make armor, you make potions, you make crafting like gems and stuff like that. You literally craft everything like Minecraft. Like, you need an axe. Okay, you build an axe, like craft an axe from the ground up. Like you do all that type of stuff with the latest Atelier Ryza game. So yeah, it's not just potions. Just to let you know. What characterizes a good Atelier game? Now, that's a good question. Um, I would say a good Atelier game is really the latest ones. The Ryza series is really striking a chord. They have very good characters. It's well animated. The quests are they're fetch quests, but they're doable and they're very. I think a good Atelier game is it's a really low vibe, relaxed crafting game, and they just do such a good job. I think every time. Um, and then, so where should one start? As I said, I think Atelier Ryza, the first one that came out, I think I would say 2018, 2019, something like that. It came out on PS4, Switch, and PC. So you got a good gambit there. And then he also asked on the Vita, man, you talking about this Vita right here? This Vita that I'm playing Parasite Eve right now? Yes. There are many Atelier games on on the Vita as well. There's like DX versions. I think Atelier Sophie is a good one that is on there. There's also DX versions of Atelier games on Steam and Switch and PlayStation. Just it's literally on everything except for Xbox. I know it's but I want to kind of calm you down here. It's not like the Trails games where you have to connect all the little diagrams and triangles of characters together in order to understand the anthology of Trails games. No, Atelier games are very like Final Fantasy, where one's really not connected to the other unless it's a series. So Atelier Ryza, which is about the main character Ryza in the in a trilogy, but you really don't need to play like the first one or the second one in order to get the later ones. It's just a story. It's just a kind of chill story going on. Maybe you can look up a YouTube video to figure out the characters that have been in there, but you really don't need much story beats or background. The games are not for the story. It's meant for the crafting. It's meant for being chill, low vibe, just going through a really cool story, very bright colors, very vibrant. Um and I would, so I would say Atelier Marie Remake. I think it's very good on a sale, and I think it's good that if you've played at least one Atelier game, and then you just want to, you're curious about what the first game kind of, where did it come from? What did it look like? Like that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from Atelier Murray. Is that if you should get it if you want to understand the origin of the Atelier series. It's very good. It's a very accessible game now, which is great. Um, and then so you have other questions here. What new aspects can we expect from Atelier Murray? Now, yeah, I said it's a remake of the first game. But I think the biggest one that sets it apart for later games is the time aspect. As as Kevin said, time it can make it worse. But you just have to think about like, okay, do I have enough materials? Do I have enough time to go through all the crafting and to get the end result I need for this quest? Because I did fail a lot of quests or it was overdue because I just didn't have time on my quest line, and I just didn't have time. You go through day by day, and actually, literally, like one gem can take like 7 days or something like that to make, and it'll just knock it off your calendar. So yeah, Atelier Murray has the schedule like system where you don't see that at all in the later games. And then the last question, why aren't you playing Baldur's Gate 3? Listen, Drellesh, I know you got Sean on the hook, and and good for Sean because Dragon Age, that is a D&D, themed video game that's so good. I definitely would like to play Baldur's Gate 3. I just, man, is like the wrong time for me. And as he said, the answer to the last question might have to do with the boy with the scar on his forehead. Yes, I started out my journey with Hogwarts Legacy. It's pretty good. I love Harry Potter. I'm a huge fan of it. I've read the books, I've watched the movies, and this game is a really good love letter to the fans. So Hogwarts Legacy, yeah, going through that. I'll talk about that more later. So, and then Darth Stradius comes in with another Baldur's Gate 3 question. Question for the show. BG3 is the biggest RPG out right now. Why are you not playing it? Will there be a BG3, Baldur's Gate 3 podcast episode you had for the faux RPG Final Fantasy 16? Hey, Darth Stridius, I agree with you. Final Fantasy 16 and RPG, I kind of like, oh, I don't know about that. It's doubtful, pretty doubtful. I think a lot of people are in the same boat that Final Fantasy 16 is a great game, but RPG it's not much of an RPG. But Baldur's Gate 3, let me tell you, I've been loving the hype. I've been loving reading all the comments from you guys about this game. I love reading the memes. I love seeing the reactions from other people about this game. It looks like a showstopper for sure. So I am definitely paying attention to it more than I would say a month ago. Yeah, this game just came out of nowhere. It's kind of crazy to see a single player. Well, it's also a multiplayer. D&D based game that's not live service being this big on Steam, on the Steam platform, and also coming to PlayStation later, which is just kind of crazy. It looks so cool. And then yeah, I might wait for a sale. But to be honest with you, I just don't really have too much time. I don't want to pay for something that I'm not gonna play like right now. I really don't want to play it right now. I would love to play it. I think when I'm in the mood, but also when there's a sale as well. And then I'll probably pick it up. Man, but I've seen some crazy adventures with Baldur's Gate 3. It's kind of crazy. So, yeah, that's okay. Well, that's pretty much it for the questions. I think I've gone through all my thoughts with Atelier Marie Remake. It is show here, Too Long Didn't Read Snapshot. It's a great remake of the original game. The crafting and combat exploring is there. It's just very service level. It's a good busy game where you just kind of watch television or podcasts and just play it along. There's a schedule based system in there, and there's a lot of things you can miss, but overall, I found it to be a very enjoyable experience. So take that as you will. Maybe wait for a sale. The Atelier games go on sale all the time. No joke. They go on the sale like I would say at least 5 times, 6 times a year. I have no doubt this game will be on sale on the Steam sale later this year into early next year, and I think that would be a good times to try it out. You know what? Here's another positive for the game. It is a short game. I played it, I beat it in 12 hours. That's great. I wish I had more of those RPGs, man. Like those are the best. I wish I had 10 to 20 hour focused RPG experiences. 12 hours is very nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I think that's the end of the show. I want to mention actually next week we got something cooking. I don't want to say exactly what day because we really haven't locked it in yet, but I think the PC centric um people would really enjoy what we have cooking for next week. So be on the lookout. Especially for you PC handheld fans. We might do something for you. But other than that, I am gonna actually take a break as well with the RPG cave just because Ryan is out. I don't want to, kind of stress around and force someone to come on the show just to come on the show and record. I want it to be natural. And then also, I have other obligations to do throughout this month too. So we'll keep RPG Cave on a hiatus for the next few weeks, but we will be back and stronger and better than ever when Starfield rolls around. And of course, Sea of Star rolls around that time too, about the end of August and early September. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Drellesh, Loglith, and all of them on the live chats. I really do appreciate you coming over to the RPG Cave, and we are done with the side quest. So you can follow me at Twitter. Yes, I'm gonna still call it Twitter at Blaine Explosion. You can also find me on Discords. I am very active on the RPG Cave and the PC Gaming and Xbox Drive. You can also find me on the Play Some Video Games Discord. I am very active on the Portable Pros channel. We literally have a channel dedicated to PC handhelds. It's great, excellent, good stuff. So with that, I will bid you adieu, and I'll catch you guys later this month, maybe next week, maybe early next month, something like that. And Ryan will be back too, and he'll kind of geek out about Magic the Gathering. So that's great. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye bye. And how do I do this? Outvote it. Oh, there's the out.